Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to COD Zombies HQ. The Blood of the Dead ending cutscene is one of the best cutscenes I think we've ever had in Call of Duty Zombies. It has far-reaching implications for the zombies storyline, but more than that, it's visually stunning and framed to perfection. But in this video, we're going to be covering 10 hidden details within the Blood of the Dead cutscene that you might have missed. The first one comes near the beginning of the cutscene when Dempsey first gets up off the ground and says,
"Ain't that swell? Does that mean we win?"
Now, if you like Blood of the Dead as much as you liked its precursor, Mob of the Dead, then you should know what that quote is referencing. It's Sal's famous memeable quote during the Mob of the Dead intro cutscene.
Fairly good. Doing great, Mr. DeLuca. My boy Tommy, he's almost 6 now. Ain't that swell?
Now moving on to number 2, throughout the main Easter egg of Blood of the Dead, we're led around the map and helped at certain point by a spirit that takes the form of a bird. The leading theory is that this bird is the spiritual link, or the actual spirit of the Weasel from Mob of the Dead. Remember, he broke the cycle at the end of that Easter egg. That's why it seems that he's the only spirit that we encounter on the map. Unlike the other ghosts, this bird is the only one that is truly free. And if you look closely, as the souls are getting released during the ending cutscene, we can see the bird spirit 2 leaving with the rest of the inmates of Alcatraz. The third thing that I think is important to notice and related to this sequence is that while all the ghosts are being freed from Blood of the Dead, included are the 3 ghosts that we encountered right before the boss fight of the main Easter egg, where 3 ghosts seemingly incapacitate Brutus for a moment that allows us to actually get into the boss fight arena. The leading theory is that these ghosts are the rest of the mobsters from Mob of the Dead, Finn, Sal, and Billy, broken free from their spiritual confinement to help Primis in their quest. Now, the next 2 details are separate things, but they're very close together within the cutscene. The first one is right after Richtofen reveals that Dr. Monty is evil and that Primis will be fighting him. Nikolai responds with,
"It will be needed to defeat Dr. Monty."
Who?
The reason he asks who is because Blood of the Dead takes place before the events of Gorod Krovi within Black Ops 3. And within Gorod Krovi of Black Ops 3, the new character, the omnipotent being Dr. Monty, was revealed. This version of Nikolai does not remember who Dr. Monty is. And the 5th thing takes place right after that quote, so take a listen. So it appears at this point, the portals our crew uses to take out of Blood of the Dead are being opened. While we don't see who is opening these portals, Richtofen can be seen walking away immediately before, so maybe he has something to do with it, but in the cutscene, it's used to distract Nikolai from reading the Chronorium at that moment, and then we continue on with Richtofen confronting other Richtofen. There's 2 very interesting quotes from Richtofen near the end of the cutscene that I want to highlight for the 6th detail. Take a listen.
"I walk a path no other can take. No!"
So Richtofen says, "I am the nicest one, and I walk a path that no other can take." He's right in both accounts. Seemingly the reason that the cycle wasn't broken before this point, or at least one of the reasons, was that there was no other version of Richtofen willing to sacrifice himself the way this version of Richtofen did in Blood of the Dead, specifically to save his Primis cohorts so that they'll be free to take on Dr. Monty. This is the first Richtofen to seemingly enter the blood draining machine at the end of the Easter egg and stay there. He walks a path no others can take because no other version of Richtofen did what he's doing before him. Moving on to number 7, as our updated version of the Primis crew step through the portals, if you look on the ground, you can see the remnants of the insurance policy. I count 3 blood vials sitting in the foreground, 2 blood vials a little bit in the background, and then beyond that we can see the broken glass from the shattered 2 blood vials that we see Richtofen throwing on the ground near the end of the cutscene. If the dimension where Blood of the Dead exists is to be closed off, they must leave the insurance policy behind, so that it's nice that they included that minor detail to show it to us. For number 8, at the end of the cutscene, the screen's color begins to fade away, becoming black and white. This is supposed to represent that the dimension itself is dying, and that it will be closed off once the last living entity leaves it. After the Primis crew leaves through the portals, Richtofen is left as the last living being within Blood of the Dead's dimension, and when he does in fact die, the dimension is devoid of life and will be closed off. For the 9th detail, this relates to the actual portals themselves that the Primis crew uses to leave Blood of the Dead. Like Richtofen said earlier in the cutscene, the Chronorium pages have changed. We can see what's supposed to happen at the end of the Zetsubo no Shima cutscene, when our crew can be seen teleporting back from Alcatraz using red-colored portals after they successfully obtained the blood vials to continue on with the cycle. These portals are not taking us back to Zetsubo no Shima, but the question of where they will take our crew has not been answered yet. And the last interesting detail, that odds are it's probably just a visual glitch, but did you notice as Great War Richtofen walks up to the portals, there's 2 summoning keys. One is in his hand and the other is floating out in front of him as he walks past it. Again, odds are this is just a visual glitch, but if indeed there is 2 summoning keys, well, that opens up another can of worms now, doesn't it? But that wraps up this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button down below, subscribe for continuing COD Zombies coverage as we attempt to solve more Easter eggs within this game. If there's any other interesting details about the Blood of the Dead ending cutscene that you noticed that I didn't cover in this video, I'll be taking a look through them and liking the good ones. But again, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies news video tomorrow.